All right, welcome everyone to the stream. We will be streaming today one of the most expected finals in the SOS history. It is going to be VVV versus Val. They played before in the eliminatory matches, but this now is the final, so things may have been different. Not only because there has been a few releases into the game, but also both teams had a taste of what each other can do, and they will be able to use that knowledge to be able to adapt and play the best they can do in this finals. So I hope you are ready. This is going to be a very interesting match, in my opinion. And I will be Lezard Fleck. I'm one of your hosts, and this is DoctorchaoR. She is gonna be the co-host.
How are you doing, everyone?
And feel free to chat and to engage with anything while we get prepared. We are gonna be in the expectation room for Val right now. And we will be taking questions or anything that you want from both YouTube and Discord right now. We're streaming in both in case you are interested in checking out what we're doing.
So for those who doesn't know, VVV is the strongest alliance at the moment. Vol is the second strongest alliance in the game. So I'm sure everybody is very excited to see this. Hello, Sonic. Hello, Tommy, Gunso. How are you guys doing? Hope everybody's doing well.
I hope everyone is doing great. We're glad to have you here. And we will be watching in 4 minutes as the first bell of the first round will start. And this is gonna be, as I said, very interesting to check how two of the top alliances have adapted to each other is gonna be great. As I mentioned in my interview, match was very close last time. I believe that the alliance that will win is the alliance that devoured the knowledge from the other match and that was able to basically evolve from that match.
Glad to hear that again. So hello, State 909. Hey, Tommy. How are you?
Hey, Alpha 10 from 909 is saying that he's a big fan. Glad to hear that you guys are enjoying to have us here.
How are you doing? How are you doing, Alpha? Hope you're doing well.
All right, so what are your expectations for this match, Doc?
I agree with you. I think it's gonna be. As we were mentioning before, we are seeing two of the strongest alliances in the game. So for sure, it's not gonna be easy to any sides. Organization, it's gonna be quite important here, and for sure, it's gonna be exciting. I was waiting for this for a long time. We could see that those two alliances were going to face each other. That was we could see in the past, like the way that both alliances were playing so far. So it was an expected final in a sense. But as we know, we never know exactly what to expect. Sometimes the underdogs can surprise us. But not this time. This time, the two that we were expecting to be in the finals are here. But also, we had very good matches in the past, even though those were the two favorites. The other ones the other alliances that they faced still did a pretty good job, I would say. As we could see in the previous games, right? We managed to watch some of them.
I expect a lot of questions. Why are some of the buildings not being touched? Because not everyone knows the strategy that people have been using lately. So this is gonna be quite interesting to see if they are gonna reuse the strategy of not taking any of the processing plants, and that really makes people a little bit confused due to the fact of those buildings being one of the important buildings in here. But we'll see which strategy which side is gonna go. But if any VVV and Val matches before shows us anything, is that we get usually around 30 people asking why are some of the buildings not being touched?
Yes, we've seen that in the past. Hello, Tommy. How are you doing? Hello, Trustify. So what do you guys think in the chat? Why are you? Who do you think is going to win? So Gansel said VVV can win. Hello, Norfolk. How are you doing? So 909, I played in 909 for a long time. So glad to see you guys here.
Yeah, I expect if I had to make a guess that this is going to be a very close match. And VVV have evolved a lot during the match. I haven't seen the other matches to see if they have evolved even more, but I do know that Vol evolves more than Pressure than any other alliance that I've seen. So I expect Vol to come in with everything that they have right now. If I had to make a guess, I'd say Vol would likely win, but chat in general, it seems to be that they are going for VVV, and so it is going to be interesting to see how everyone is going to be working on their opinions to see what things are going to go into that direction. So glad to have a lot of people watching us right now, both in Discord and in YouTube, and it is going to be interesting to see the results.
For sure, for sure. As we were saying here, a lot of people is thinking that VVV might win. VVV is the number one alliance in the game at the moment. Vol is the second. But we know, as we were saying, the games can be quite unpredictable. Battle power is not the only thing that counts in the game. So, and Vol was surprised us in the past, right? In previous editions, they were the underdogs once, and they managed to do a pretty good game and win.
Yeah.
So we never know. I think it was season 3, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me here. That they were the underdogs. They were playing with one generation behind at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure, and they still, even with the disadvantage of playing with one generation behind, they managed to win that season. So, as I say, I think it's gonna be a pretty close game, because both alliances are very well organized and they play quite well.
They were called the underdogs in season 3. It was season 3, as you mentioned, due to the fact that they were one generation behind and no one have ever heard of them. They have just unified their state under one banner. They had a very strong alliance before, but they were not as known as they are right now. And it was their first championship, and they have been blasting ever since. VVV has been the first wall that they ever faced up to this time. So it is interesting to see how strong they are going to come back to this, because in some cases people crumble under pressure. But I don't think that Vol is that kind of team. So I do expect this match to be fierce in both sides. I expect people to be hyper focused and probably hyper aggressive if they can, to try to take this home as well as they can. If Vol does that, I think they might be the only alliance in the entire game to get 4 championships. They're definitely going to be the only alliance that has 4 championships in a row, because they were the only alliance that got 3 championships in a row as well before. So regardless of what happened in here, it is going to be a big thing for True Alliance. VVV, however, only had 2 championships. So this would put them among the top alliances that have 3 championships. I haven't done the math in every other alliance that are in the finals, if there are other alliances with 3 stars. But I do think that there's none. Oh, because last time I checked, there were only 2 alliances that were able to, that had, besides Valve, that had 3 stars.
Hello, Sally. Hello, Tommy.
All right, we will be starting a match
right now. Started very soon.
Right now, they already have started a match. I got excited talking about it, but they have just started to move, so it is okay. So it seems like we're gonna be covering VVV, because we covered last time we covered Vol as a blow match. So VVV is going for a few of the buildings, but Vol seems to have been taking control of Solar Power Station right now, and they are fighting fiercely for a lot of the buildings. Seems like they are going to be using the same strategy as they were using before, the strategy that they are ignoring the 4 buildings, the 4 external buildings. So we are going to be seeing a lot of fierce fights thanks to that.
As we mentioned in the past, this is a very important building, because it reduces the time you need to take control of the buildings. So whoever holds solar power has the advantage of needing less time to take control of the other buildings, right? So we've seen Vol doing that in the past, and seems that they're doing it again.
Most of the top alliances tend to fight for Solar with everything that they have, especially because holding Solar at the 45-minute marks makes extremely hard for any alliance to stop them from full control. Full control's head start is one of the biggest game changers, especially in a match that can be as close as this one. and it is going to be a very fierce fight in here as well. For those that are watching, because before this question comes through, I'm already gonna say the reason that they are not focusing or even touching any of the teams for the processing plants is that they want to focus all the resources that they have in the 4 most important buildings. These buildings, if they are fighting for them, the easiest thing that you can do is just try to contest them with either hyper fast sped up solos from some of the top players, or one single rally if necessary to just reset them and leave them alone. Because what they don't want is to overextend themselves and waste valuable resources in things that are going to be needed later on. So it is a way for the Alliance to give control of where they are doing and put their strongest players that can go hold and have stats to be able to fight in the ways that are fine. Looks like we have a Goku Ultra Instinct picture here from Sir Arthur. Good choice, Sir Arthur.
So yeah, as Les is mentioning, this is a game where every single movement will be very important. So for sure, they going for the solar power station at this moment is quite important. It will help them on the control of the future buildings as well. So apparently, let's see how.
And if you check also the number of people involved, you can see the solar is the one that have most people defending out of the 3 buildings so far.
Exactly. They are trying to 5 seconds. Let's see if Vol is gonna be able to.
Yep,
keep that building.
They got full control. Let's see right now if they are gonna be bouncing off the double rallies or not. Colonel is, however, holding treatment center 1.
Center 1,
and
yes.
Colonel was a big roadblock for Val before. Let's see if they are going to be able to bounce Colonel this round through, as they had struggled to do that in the last match.
Let's see what's happening on the top over there.
Yes, it seems like Buzz Lightyear flipped up and away, flipped the building.
Yeah.
Yep. Before they could get full control. So right now, the only building that was able to give full control was Solar, and Val is holding Solar. With Tooth and Nail, we have 1 minute though until Colonel gets full control. Artberg, however, started a rally with Colonel within enough time to make sure that if they walk, they actually reset the building. So we will see if they are going to be able to flip the building here or not. Going back up there to Buzz Lightyear, we have Sir Arthur starting a rally against Buzz Lightyear. So depending on how this goes, we might see this being flipped or not. If it is not flipped, it is going to go for a full control. Buzz Lightyear start to walk now.
Let's see how it's going to
reinforce. But I do think that the first rally that is going to be hitting is going to be Artberg, with Giorgio following right through.
Hello, Queen of War. How are you doing?
Seems like a lot of people are congratulating you in YouTube. So hello, Abdal. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Abdal. How are you doing?
All right. Seems like Colonel got the full control, but the rallies bounced from Artberg. Georgia is going in right now. They bounced as well. And it seems like the points from full control put VVV slightly ahead on the mark. Let's go back now and see Sir Arthur rally. If Sir Arthur rally is going to be enough to bounce them from treatment center 2. And it looks like they bounced Georgia with the second rally.
Oh, well, nice one. Nice one.
Sadly, it was not done on time, so VVV was able to get full control, but Georgia was able to set them with a few rally of solos after that to be able to kick them off.
What is your state, Queen? Yeah, for those who doesn't know, VVV has 2 of the strongest on the top 5 solo power. Both Colonel Qatar, that we saw, he was in one of the buildings earlier, and Chuck, they are the second and the third strongest in solo power in the ranks. So it's for sure, Queen is difficult to go against them.
And it seems like Val also bounces Sir Arthur. So now we are
as well. Yeah.
Now we are seeing Sir Arthur being rallied by Nightmare, and Tokugawa being rallied by Chuck. So we are seeing a double rally with Sir Arthur, but we haven't seen, and we have seen Kono also start a rally against Giorgio. Kono's most likely is going to be starting a rally and beating Giorgio out of the building here. That being said, Val may have a ghost rally ready, but we'll check. They do have a few solos coming in. 5 seconds. Let's see if they get a full control as well to get some points. And they just did, and they recover the difference in points from full control. The reason that this is important and not a lot of people do know is that you get points for full control every single time, not only the first time that you do control a building. And this means that the fact that they took and held Solar Power Station was what gave them the opportunity to recover the points that they have from the beginning here from Treatment Center 1. Now let's go for Sir Arthur here a little bit, because it seems like Buzz Lightyear was going to bounce Sir Arthur at the moment.
Let's see how it's going to be. Let's go.
And it seems like Buzz Lightyear bounced Sir Arthur. And like we're gonna see now how Val is gonna reply to that.
Yeah. Let's see how it's gonna be. We see that Val has an advantage at the moment. But they're playing quite well. Let's see how it's gonna be, if they're gonna be able to get it back from that. And it seems that they are keeping the control of the solar power still, so that's a good thing for them, I would say. Which if they manage to bounce the bus from there, it's gonna be quicker for them to get the control from another building as well.
100%.
Hello,
it seems like they are doing a few rallies for Georgia here right now. Let's see if Georgia is going to be holding here. In 3 minutes, center opens, and when center opens, the dynamics of things are going to be swapping a little bit. So I want to see how both teams are going to have prepared themselves for when the 3 extra buildings show up. It seems like so far Val is having the upper hand. This looks like a completely different match than the match that we had previously.
Yeah, it does. But again, guys, remember that when they manage to, after they have control, if they manage to flip the buildings, part of the water that you're holding in that building will spill in the water puddles. So that can also be something that changes the results quite quickly, because the alliance that loses the building also lose a little bit of the water that was there. And we have the water puddles that are unpredictable. So they have to be quite fast to get it. So so far, it's not a huge difference between both teams. So anything can happen.
100%. The thing is, pacing is important, especially for morale. Val is dictating the pacing right now, but we will see how many rallies there is in each side. That's going to make a big part in terms of how things will go through when the 3 extra buildings show up. And it seems like Tegaleo was able to bounce Val out of Treatment Center 1 with some of the water puddles already showing up. And this is important timing due to the fact that in roughly 2 minutes, Center is going to be open.
Center's going to open. Exactly. Let's see how the both alliances is going to deal with the Center and how things are going to be. But it seems so far that Val is managing to keep the buildings that they have control at the moment, which put them slightly in advantage. But let's see how it's going to be. Hello, Edson de Oliveira, tudo bem? Hey, hello, Green Roxy. I just saw you, Brandin, Fernando.
I think the most important thing regarding Val at the moment is the fact that they're dictating the pace and the rhythm of things are being played. It's not about the score itself, but it seems like VVV at the moment is playing in their back foot. And Val just got a full control again, which puts them slightly ahead again in terms of points. And it is important that those full controls are points that cannot be taken back from water puddles. The only points that are taken back from water puddles are for the time that they held the building, not necessarily for every single full control that they do have.
Yeah, the full control stays, but the water that the building is holding is what they can take from the water puddles. And as you said, as you mentioned, Val is doing a great job. They're very well organized. We've seen them in the past. And how organized they are. So
And
so far, their strategy is and then
Arberg just flipped
Just
less than
flipped.
1 minute from opening center, putting Giorgio in, which means that
Treatment center one.
most likely Arberg is gonna relocate and speed into the center. This was a beautiful speed from Giorgio, which is going to allow Arberg to be free to go to the center and going to be ready. Arberg already relocated with H, so they are going super hard in the center. Val is going super aggressive in this match. This made sure that they lost to Chuck Norris their solar power station. And look at that huge screen.
They just lost solar power.
Which is going to make center more contested. This is going to be something that's going to be a little bit problematic. That being said, they're still going to be the first ones in the center.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
So Tomidis,
that was a good move.
Yes, Tomidis also sped in with a few other people and hit very closely with Tegaleo. And it seems like a few players are speeding in from VVV, and VVV is going all in with the center. This was a really good response from VVV to take both solar and center at the moment, putting good timing. Putting pressure of them here as well with treatment 1. They got another full control, which are going to give them a few more points. But it seems like that Chuck Norris is going to be holding full control of solar power station, giving them a good advantage in holding the center later on.
Central as well. Exactly. As we were mentioning, the timing was quite good. As we mentioned before, for those who doesn't know, when you hold control of the solar power station, it reduces the time that you need to conquer the other buildings, right, in 50%. That means that it's going to be, once they have control of the solar power station, all the other buildings after is going to be quicker. And those points are quite important. As we were mentioning and Les mentioned before, those points cannot be, the points for control, they are not taken from you. So it's a very, very important.
And the thing that is most interesting about this match so far, for those that are asking right now, this is the finals of the Doomsday event, which is an event that is based on Reservoir Raid. It's not exactly like Reservoir Raid. There are some slight differences, especially in how things are being matched. And this is the finals between two of the strongest alliances in the game. I'd be willing to bet that they are the two strongest alliances in the game, but I may be biased in saying that.
Yeah, in terms of total power, VVV is nowadays the strongest, and Vol is the second one. But we know that's not the only thing that counts, right? As we can see here, VVV is stronger in terms of battle power in comparison to Vol, but Vol is proving that that's not the only thing that matters. So they're playing quite well with good strategy here. However, we've seen just some very good moves from VVV as well. So still at this point of the game, you cannot predict how it's going to be. But Vol is doing a great job at the moment. As you guys can see, the difference of water that they are gathering per minute on top, it's huge. The difference between the two alliances right now.
But I think the thing that's going to set the complete pace of the match is going to be 6 minutes from now on when the water tanks start. Because then the individual power will show. Tokugawa going for solar. Tokugawa is a solar boy. Tokugawa is usually in solar. I mean...
and that they're going for the puddles.
I mean, Japan is the country, the sun-rising country. So I think that one of the emperors having the name of Tokugawa holding solar power station, we could say that Tokugawa is the solar emperor.
I agree with you, Queen. They're very, very strong. Both are strong, and they also have good strategies. For sure, two alliances to be respected.
All right, seems like Nightmare right now flipped the center, not giving full control to Val at the moment. But Val also flipped it with Tokugawa, what I mentioned, solar. So this is going to make it interesting because if they reset, as Artberg just did a rally against Nightmare, after having full control of solar, there is a good chance that Val will take the first full control of Central Reservoir. Yes, LDC, they have faced before, and VVV beat Val by a very short margin last time.
So this game is a little bit different from the last one, LDC, as you can see right now. Vol is doing quite well, holding more buildings at the moment. But VVV is also doing some very good moves. So let's see what's gonna happen.
At this moment, it seems like Colonel just flipped Treatment Center 1. And it seems that Val is not leaving anything in the board because they are gathering every single water puddle that came out of that building. So although they lost the building, they got almost every single one of them. It seems like Tegaleo is going for munitions right now, and munitions is going to give them a slight advantage in stats, which can play a part, especially as some of VVV players are actually maxed.
Yeah, the munition factory will give them 15% extra damage to their troops, and also we reduce in 15% the damage taken. So it's also an important building.
But it seems like they are completely ignoring Dev Compound for now. So it looks like the strategy went a little bit further, and they are, instead of ignoring 4 buildings, they're ignoring 5. They were probably maybe ignoring 6 up to this point. And I do think that they will just put 1, maybe 2 players holding. Yes, I was correct. Just like with Helipad, they're putting just 1 or 2 players to hold this because it's not worth getting any other players in to do this.
Apparently, Vol got the.
Yes, they flipped the building right now with H. H was the one that was holding less in last match, if you remember, Water Treatment Center 2. So H is quite strong.
Let's see how it's gonna be. They have to hold it for 32 seconds right now.
Yes,
they're gonna minute.
It happened as I mentioned. It looks like Val got full control for Solar. So this timing was the best timing possible. The execution of this, and from what I know the lines, the timing was planned probably, and this was done to put pressure to get those points and squeeze those points. So it seems like instead of Val wanting to overwhelm VVV, they are climbing and going every single small amount of points that they can build up on top to make sure that VVV, every time that VVV creeps up into them, because VVV have been playing well, VVV have been basically going every single time and bumping up in terms of gameplay, but Val goes and go one next step every time this happens. And they got full control of the center, which is why it gave them an even further advantage in points in the center, but Nightmare took back right after it.
Yeah, a few seconds before would have prevented Vol from getting the
9,000 points that they did.
Yeah, exactly. A few seconds earlier, a little bit change of the timing, attacking the center would be like a huge difference there. But as you guys can see, timing is quite important as well, right? Because for those that were not here when we started, as Les mentioned, when you get the full control, those points cannot be taken from you. All the water that is gathering by the buildings after you take the control, if someone manages to flip it, it will spill as a water puddle. So those points you can still lose part of it, right? But the full control you cannot. What we see here is that unfortunately VVV managed to get to flip the central. However, since it was a few seconds delayed, it didn't prevent Vol from getting the points for getting full control of the central, because they had 15% less time to get the control of that building because they were holding Solar, and that was very, very well planned, I would say.
And it happened again with Treatment Center 1 from Colonel. Colonel took the building back a few seconds after that. So this, what you're seeing right now in terms of pressure, is the reason why Solar is one of the most important buildings. In my opinion, in terms of strategy, Solar is the most important building in the game at the moment, which is why we saw 11 people fighting from each side, fighting for Solar in the beginning of the match. The water tanks will open now in 30 seconds. So in 30 seconds, we will see how because here's the thing, up to this point, a lot of the match relays heavily into the players that are the rally leads. The joiners have to execute, they have to have spatial awareness, they have to be allocated to their teams and do their jobs properly. But the thing that starts to show individuality and where people have the ability to shine regardless of being a rally lead or not is when you start having water tanks. Because every time that there are water tanks, not only they're randomly generated with 3 in each quadrant, the positioning that you have, how you respond to things and how things are done play a huge part in how you are going to play. So every gathering team that does that, that have their members applying and doing points for the water tanks, can make a big difference right now. And water tanks, every second in water tanks make a huge difference as well. So this is where we're gonna see how not only the rally leads but their joiners are gonna have some impact. And Nightmare was able to get full control of the center, and
and they flipped they managed to flip the solar power just a few seconds ago as well. So as we could see, the difference between the water gathering per minute for each alliance for a few minutes, VVV was gathering 0, while Vol was way ahead. Now it changed a little bit the game, and let's see if they're gonna be able to keep the control, or if Vol is gonna counterattack the solar.
Right now we are looking at the water tanks. It seems like VVV have a bigger advantage in water tanks, but Val is starting to put some pressure in that. But this is turning around some of the score in favor of VVV, because VVV is holding close to double the amount of water tanks, double the amount of water points that Val is getting. That being said, it seems like Val is going to snatch a few more points of full control with Giorgio here. Let's see if that's going to be the case in 1 second. And they got a few more points. It's going to put them ahead. This gives them roughly 1 more minute of points ahead in advantage.
That's true.
Sorry. Nightmare is having a rally by Artberg coming in 1 minute. But it seems like most of the match is going to have the fights right now into the water tank. So I am going to go and I'm going to snatch a little bit in water tanks to see how they're reacting. So Chief Dulac right now is the one responsible for the top left, it seems, because he's fighting Intruder. Math Cooker is fighting the Master into this direction here, and Wiggle in another one of the water tanks. Khalifa is handling with 3 VVV members in here. So what I can check at the moment, and this is very interesting, is that it seems like VVV is putting a lot more resources, as in a lot more players and a lot of things happening to hold those points here. And this is going to make it a little bit harder for them to fight for any of the other buildings later on. So this is going to be an interesting show of force that the Val is able to keep very close to half of the water tanks, as they have 5 and now 4, but they're flipping between 5 and 7 on each side. So if less players are able to give this much pressure to VVV.
Hello, everybody who got here and later. Again, who do you think is gonna win, guys? So who are you supporting? Let us know in the chat.
What are your guesses? Because right now in the beginning, everyone guessed it was VVV. Now I think that people might be more even-sided, because, as I said, the more times go on, the more water tanks we'll have, and the more the individuality of each players will shine. And we have Colonel hating Giorgio here right now, and looks like Colonel bounce off Giorgio.
That was
Artberg is walking to Nightmare, so we should see some water puddles in here, as H is double rallying with Artberg in here, or at least sending some solos. Sorry, no, it was not a double. And we do have some water spills. And it seems like for the water spills that it was a good positioning for the blue team.
Yes.
And we have some people from the blue team going to gather those puddles. That being said, it seems like even like that the Val is going to be getting at least half of those water puddles. This was where a place where actually VVV could shine. But it seems like they are completely being overpaced in everything happening at the moment.
Yeah, as we were mentioning, it's a huge thing that we cannot predict where the the puddles are gonna be. So it's a little bit of luck in that sense. You need to be prepared to attack as soon as you can, right? But it's a little bit unpredictable. ¿Cómo están bien? And that those puddles can make a huge difference as well. Like, can you take a look at the battle map and we can see the how is the water tanks at the moment?
It seems like it's roughly even, just like before. VVV has a few more. So VVV right now has 8. They got a few more, so they have more advantage. So they have a good advantage over that. But it seems like Val controlling all the buildings is putting them in some back foot. But the interesting thing is that even though the VVV is controlling, a lot of the water tanks are flipping constantly. And I think Ardberg is going to get more points. And yes, Ardberg got more points from the center. If I were a betting man right now, I think that they are baiting VVV into fighting for those buildings and getting full control every single time. I think if I were a betting man, and I don't know Valve's strategy, that the strategy that they were playing on is to creep up in full control points by holding solar to negate any difference and any advantage that they may lose into the water tanks.
Sorry, someone asked what state is it? So we are watching the match Vol from state 333 against VVV that is state 291 at the moment. Those are the finals. So answering your question, that's the game that we are covering here today.
All right, and VVV is currently the strongest alliance that we have in the game in terms of battle power, and Val is the second strongest alliance.
Yeah, right now we can see that Vol is gathering 6,600, a little bit less now per minute, while
Tokugawa went for processing plant too. This is interesting.
So they have a very good advantage here on how much water they are gathering per minute, which is putting Vol a little bit ahead in the game.
The Tokugawa is putting pressure in some of the other buildings as well, so this is going to be interesting. Colonel just bounced them off again, and it looks like that the positioning of the joiners from Val, and this was positioning, put them ahead in terms of water gathering. They got almost every single water puddle in here. And the ones that were farther away, Nick just came in to split. Bad Girl tried to respond, but was not on time.
Not on time. Few seconds. As we were mentioning before, the 1 or 2 seconds that make a difference there on the relocating.
Val is not leaving anything on the board for this match.
Right now, as you guys can see, Vol is holding the more buildings, and they are completely neglecting. Oh, they just went for the one on top. Vol went for the. I mentioned
that Tokugawa went in there just to get full control.
Just because I think it's 3,000 points first control. Yeah, 3,000 points for the first control. So they might go and try to get those extra points as well.
Tokugawa again, the Solar Emperor Tokugawa going for solar power. I'm gonna be using that for a while because that's actually too perfect to not use it. All right, and it seems like Colonel is striving for a full control here. It's 1 minute and 30. They have a lot of players coming in. Giorgio is sending a bunch of solos with them, his main march. And we will see if Giorgio is going to bounce Colonel off here. Colonel is sending some reinforcements as well.
Let's see how it's going to be.
And Giorgio just kick off Colonel.
Managed to get in.
As no alliances have solar right now, it's going to be a 3 minute for each side. Val is doing a pretty good job of also keeping, while having almost everybody, keeping roughly half of the control of the water tanks as well. I think in 1 minute we're going to see how much this can actually be kept up. But so far the game is going very smoothly in Val's direction. There are roughly, let me check on the map. We have roughly 20,000 points on the buildings on the map, which means that is 40,000 points of difference. So Val is comfortably 30,000 points ahead, regardless if they lose every single water in each building. Yeah,
they managed to play very well so far. as you can see, the map is basically red. The blue team guys that we are watching is VVV. Red team is Vol. So yeah, so they just went to they're going for the building that they were neglecting.
And
As
the
you guys
timing,
can see.
look at the timing. They did it exactly as the all the other water tanks spawned,
Thanks
with
to
more
just
pressure.
spawn.
So this was again beautifully done, and I do think that just like the other timing to get full control in the center, this was done on purpose. It seems like that Val has a plan for every single stage in the game, and it shows.
Mm-hmm.
So they really got very mad about losing last match.
Apparently, the last match was a good way for them to start planning and learning how VVV was playing. So as we can see, they are way more prepared this time.
Yeah,
they were way more prepared this time.
It really lit a fire under them to be a lot stronger. This doesn't look like the last match.
And that's the thing. I think when you start very strong and aggressively, and the other alliance can get a little bit stressed or desperate if so it puts a lot of pressures on the players. Yes. And when you start taking control of the game, like Vol is taking at the moment, it kinds of this is take the confidence from the other team, right? So as you can see here, Vol is doing a quite good job. Very, very impressive match, I would say. I was expecting it to be way more balanced, but still a great match.
This is a masterclass in pacing and flow of the match, as I said before, because this is showing how they have a response for every single stage. And VVV is struggling to find a response to Val movements, because every time that they adapt to one of the movement, Val has a next step in the game. So even though they catch up with some of the strategies, they have the next step, and then with that next step, it's hard for them to react. And I do think that this shows the difference in terms of preparation and strategy that both teams had. So this is a match that is not being based on power, but the level of strategy, and it shows the amount of difference in points. And it seems like that they are going. Giorgio is going to try bouncing Kono again here from
Let's see how it's going to be.
We have a lot of people being sped in for the rallies because it's a 1-minute rally. Nightmare just started a rally into Artberg with Tegaleo to be a double rally.
Let's see how it's gonna be. Someone just asked, why not watch State 198? Unfortunately, Minerva, we don't have enough streamers to cover all the matches. So just a few are selected to be transmitted. But perhaps next time.
Yeah, keep in contact with the developers. They're the one that usually suggest the matches for us to cover. So.
Yes.
And it seems like that both the solos and the rally is going to be attacking and hitting them right now. And Giorgio just bounced Kono again.
Oh my, that's impressive. He is doing an amazing. Jojo is like doing an amazing job here.
Less match seems like that Val didn't have a response for Kono, but this match seems like they have Kono under control in how they were doing, because Kono gave a comfortable position for Val to be playing, for VVV to be playing in the other places. But right now they have to support Kono in here to fight back, and it is seen that if it was not for Kono, VVV wouldn't have almost any position to be able to fight back evenly besides the center. So the only two places where VVV is fighting evenly free, if you count the water tanks, is center and treatment center 1. Everywhere else at the moment, Val is dominating in terms of how they are fighting.
Yeah, as we were mentioning before, Colonel is at the moment the number 2 in rank in solo power in the game. So in terms of solo power, he's the second strongest player in game. So when we see Jojo managing to kick him out of the buildings, that's a huge thing, guys. That's a huge thing. The work that Vol is doing, is quite impressive, I would say.
Artberg is starting a rally again into the center. And it seems like Georgia is going to snatch another full control. And he
Let's
did.
see.
Kono will probably bounce him, but again, the timing is not going to be enough.
And as we were mentioning before, those that were watching the game since the beginning, we saw that
it seems that
he held.
Yeah, he held. It seems like the timing of the reinforcements from Val were enough to probably Kono hit a full building and not be able to kick him back.
To kick him. Yeah, that's something important as well, guys. Colonel alone cannot do anything, so they have to make sure that they have full rallies, strong rallies to go against them. Also, as I was mentioning, the point of the timing. Those that were here earlier, you probably see that VVV managed to flip the center. However, Vol still got the full control. So all these rallies, they have to be well timing before the alliance takes full control, because it gives them a lot of points for getting control of the buildings. So this is why we were mentioning how important the solar power station is to the game, right?
I agree. And solar, that's why I say solar is one of the most important matches that are happening right now.
Let's see here. If we have any more questions. Hello. How are you guys doing?
And it seems like this time Kono actually bounced, got control of the building, flipped the building, and the water puddles are gonna still go for Val at the moment.
Yeah, that seems so. But at this point, we have 20 minutes left. We can see even Vol decided to go for all the buildings where they just flipped. Another one. So the advantage that they have at the moment in terms of how much water they are gathering put them way ahead.
Seems like Nightmare just flipped the central building, and we right now have 120,000 points of difference. Let's check some of the do a quick counter of the points that are having here right now. We have. Seems like we have 40,000, roughly 40,000 points in game still in the top of the building, which shows 80,000 points in here. And this puts advantage of 40,000 points for Val at the moment without any of the water puddles. So at this, if they can keep up this pace, even if they lose every single water puddle in all the buildings, which I think is unlikely, they are still ahead.
They're still ahead. Even if they lose everything at the moment, they're still ahead. So great job for Val so far.
It seems like they are going to try bouncing Kono again. And this is the difference from the last time that we watched Kono trying to hit VVV and VVV trying to hit Kono. Do you see the reinforcements going in from Kono? There are not many reinforcements hitting with the rally, but usually when Kono is rallying Val, there are a lot of reinforcements coming at the exact second that Kono is hitting. This time, however, Kono was able to get one reinforcement from Baba Ganoush in time before the full hit, and he was able to hold. So this building here is mostly being decided in the effectiveness of reinforcements and the timing of them between the rallies and the solos. And this means that VVV is going to have a response and get full control of this time of the water treatment center.
So Vladislav asked why we are saying the solar plant is so important. So the solar power station, it gives you a buff once you have control of the solar power. It will give you a buff that will reduce in 50% the time needed to take full control of the buildings around the map. So instead of like 3 minutes, it's like 1.5 minutes. And when you get full control of the buildings, you get points for it. So it makes it faster for you to get full control. And even if someone kick you out, you still got the points for the full control of the building. So it makes it faster for you to keep getting the points around the map.
In this match right here, as they were playing a lot of within full control, I'd say between 80,000 to 100,000 points from Val's score were from full control. So what made Val be so ahead in this match so far was Solar. If Val did not held Solar the amount of time that they did, then this would have been a completely different match.
So yeah, as we saw, VVV managed to get Solar for a while, but Valve focused a lot on that building and managed to take it back and got the control for the most part of the game. Can you check, Miguel? Let's see, what was your question?
And it seems like VVV is going a lot harder into the water tanks right now. It is a good response at this point, but it seems like Val is still responding with some of the water tanks themselves. So this is putting Val with almost 10,000 points in terms of battle.
Miguel asked, does attacking the players' settlements and making them burn do anything for any tactic advantage? Miguel, burning, getting your troops killed and killing troops will give you solo points. But I would say that it really depends who are you going against. That's not a strategy that I like to use, especially if you do it in the beginning of the game. Les told me something that I didn't know. When you're playing the Reservoir Raid and, for example, you get zeroed, if you leave the match for a few minutes, I think, how long? 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes, you can come back later with your full troops again. So I don't think it's depending on, like, for example, in a game like this, in a match like the one that we are seeing now, it's totally not worth it. The points for holding the buildings, the points for gathering the water from the water puddles and everything else, I would say it's way more important.
So right now we are seeing the match going into the last sections. I do think that it's very unlikely for VVV to turn this around. There's still a chance the match is still not sorted out, and that around the 10-minute mark we are going to be seeing some of the building flippings. But I think that in around 4 to 5 minutes, we are going to see the final results, and it's looking very likely that Val is going to be taking this home. So, all right, it seems like again, Minerva, we're not the ones that are going to be calling out the matches. Feel free to suggest and talk to the mods here in Discord if you want to suggest any matches for us to cover in the future. In the future matches as well, in the future events that they do. But right now we were scheduled to cover this match, and it seems like Val response to everything that VVV had was done beautifully. VVV tried to adapt, but they were shut off the three times that I saw them adapting and moving with a different strategy of what they were doing. I'd say this time that probably Val was a little bit over prepared.
Yeah, they managed to take control of the whole map here. That's huge, guys. That's huge. And again, I think that proves us once again that what you guys can see. Sometimes they say, "Oh, this is unfair" or something like that. I see a lot of people saying this based only in the battle power. Battle power doesn't mean anything, right? So there is a lot of other stuff that will take up a huge advantage in comparison to the number of troops that someone has. And as we saw, Val here, even though if you take a look, you go to the ranks, you see that in terms of battle power, Val is slightly below VVV. They still played a great game, a very good strategy. The timing for taking the buildings was just perfect. It was like a masterpiece, seeing the way that Val planned and how they have a strategy to counterattack every single move of VVV. They played quite well.
And it seems like VVV is coming for the reset timings. Usually it is around the 12 to 10 minute mark. So VVV is going straight for Solar right now to be the first building to be reset. We have Tokugawa coming back to respond. Of course, Tokugawa is going to come to respond to Solar, right?
Absolutely. I hope so. Yeah. Yes. As Les mentioned, Minerva, we usually covered the games that were suggested by the devs. But I'm glad to know that you're gonna be able to see the match that you were wishing to. That's a good thing. And feel free to suggest the matches that you guys want to see next time. For the next events, you guys feel free to suggest to the devs what you'd would prefer to see.
Yes, it seems like they are going straight for Solar to try to respond, and almost every single member that is going through a building in here, in case of Tokugawa, is going to, including Kono. This, between the two matches, is the first time that I see Kono relocate. So it seems like they're going all in to try to reset these buildings.
Let's see. But that was something that I was not expecting. I'll tell you that. Even though I, as I said, I respect both alliances, both VVV and Vol are great alliances. I was definitely not expecting to see the Vol taking and having and holding the control of all the alliances as we see now. It's something that I'll tell you. That was a surprise.
I was not expecting necessarily this result, but I was expecting to be impressed due to the fact that Vol lost. And as I mentioned, Vol flourished under pressure. So I knew I was going to see something impressive. I didn't know how much and what I was going to see.
I was expecting something more balanced, like a battle that maybe was going to be decided on the last few minutes, but well done. And they managed to flip.
Yes, a double from Tegaleo on Kono was enough to flip. They also flipped right now munitions as well. After munitions was flipped, it seems like Val got most of the water puddles. It seems like probably this is gonna be the moment where every single building is gonna be flipped, and we're gonna see some of the water being gathered on the map. That being said, even if VVV got every single tank and reset every single building, it is mathematically impossible at this moment for VVV to turn around. So this is Val's championship to take home.
Absolutely. I totally agree. That was an impressive game. What do you guys in the chat? Is that what you guys were expecting to see?
Candice, and here's the thing. VVV is it has a lot individually in terms of stats. Last time I checked, VVV not only has the highest battle power, but has the highest stats in general for things. This was not a match decided in spending. This was a match decided in strategy. And I do think it's a little bit disrespectful to both alliances and how they played so far for you to hold that opinion.
Not at all. Yeah.
All right, so let's see how things are gonna go for the reset. It seems like that Kono held Solar at the moment in here.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 8 minutes to reset some of the other buildings. And Tokugawa doesn't want to let go his solar power station.
No, he's being very, very protective over his building, I would say.
I mean, he is the solar emperor after all.
Yeah. Can I say that's his building? Because he said every time someone takes, he said, nope, give me back.
All right. It seems like that they are struggling a little bit to reset. They are trying to reset right now the building that has most points. And Kono is the one that is being responsible to reset the buildings, it seems. And there are a lot of people responding to try to make them struggle to reset the buildings. And Chief Dulac, among with Andy and other players, reset. VVV, however, is teleporting a little bit out in the outer ring. And this is how you control some of the RNG with water. Seems like that VVV also reset one of the bottom buildings here. But the point that I mentioned about the outer ring is that we all know that it's random to go around it. Most players will relocate close to the center to reinforce, but if you relocate a little bit to the outer ring, it's easier for you to get some of the random water puddles that are gonna get in. A lot of players from VVV are teleporting to get some of the water here from Helipad. Yes. But it seems like that Val had a response in some of the water gathering, but VVV did better in some of those water gatherings at the moment.
Yeah, Val, they're trying to flip all the buildings that they can at the moment. Let's see, but still, I don't think there is enough water in those buildings to to help them out. And at the moment, Vol still holds the control of solar power, which makes it a little bit more difficult for them to get points for control. Seeing that we only have 6 minutes and 20 left.
The interesting part in this, with Val playing their full game, is that the closest match that Val had besides this was against 342. And 342, in 342, they lost by 140,000 points, which was the closest match that Val had for this entire thing, besides VVV. It seems like VVV will have snatched a win from Val, but this is a bigger difference than even 342 had. So I do think that this shows, from what people said, how strong 342 is in terms of adapting to their matches, as well as some of the other teams being in there. Because I'm quite sure that even VVV was not expecting this to be so overwhelming in Val's part.
And someone may ask the question about the burning. As you guys can see, some of the players from Vol are attacking VVV. You guys can see some burning in the map earlier. Right now we are going for the few minutes of the game, so that means that they're probably going for solo points here.
They're also trying to not have some joiners, probably, because here's the thing: if they don't have joiners, it's going to be harder for them to kick here. I think that the only building that Val is going to try to hold for not to be bounced off is going to be the treatment center too. There is a good chance with Kono and the other players that they can bounce players off, but it seems like with the amount of resources and even some amount of rally joiners that they had, they were trying to avoid exactly this.
That's it. That was the building with most water at the game, I would say.
It is a bunch of lines going everywhere to get those. Center also as well was flipped, which gives also some water to VVV as well. VVV is doing a good job of gathering water around now. They did a great response, but it seems that at this moment that almost everything that has been sorted out, and it seems like people are basically getting some things to be ready to be reset. As you can see, processing plant 3 was not even garrisoned at some point here.
Yeah. So how do you get your troops back about leaving the reservoir raid? 10 minutes outside the game, Alexis.
If you leave the game counts you as a deserter, and then you get a deserter buff for 10 minutes. And when you get back in, your points are reset. Everything is reset, including your troops. So it makes you harder to get your full rewards, but you can get a full amount of troops back. This is a strategy that Val and other top alliances used before, when they didn't have like 10 billion troops. Right now, it's not necessary to do that, but it is a strategy that you can use, especially if you have someone in reserve that can take your place for those 10 minutes. And it seems like Kono just reset this building, and
processing plant 2 right now.
They are going for the water puddles. Due to the amount of people responding from this, if I were a betting man, I'd say that Val is trying to save some relocators because the match has been mostly decided.
Yeah, I don't think there is enough. And as you go around the buildings there, you guys can see there is not much water. Nothing that's gonna be game changing, I would say, in the past few minutes. But there's still both teams are still.
I think that was the last building that had points to be reset. Yep, that was the last building.
Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah.
So this is going to be settled with around 10,000, 100,000 points. Besides the rest of the match is going to be here. So yeah, great match, 100,000 points of difference. The last match, if I'm not mistaken, was 20,000 points of difference, but this showed the amount of pressure that Val put into VVV. VVV played at the end, especially with the water puddles, they played a great match, but sadly was not enough to actually to beat Val in there. All right. 2 more minutes for the match. We are gonna be covering some of the an interview with Tor after the match is over, and that's gonna be pretty much about it.
That was not. I think that impressed all of us, right? Asvar Lindai. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I apologize. Which states are fighting? Is state 333 against 291. Alliance Vol, that is the red one that is winning at the moment, is from state 333. And VVV, that is today, right now, the strongest alliance in terms of battle power in the game, is from state 291. One minute and 10 seconds left. Yeah, that was a very good game. I wasn't expecting to be like that, but still a great match. Especially for everybody to see how important the strategy in the game is, how timing is important, how planning your rallies is important, and the timing for it. It's a game changing. And again, we saw that the solar power station had a huge importance in this game, and managed to put Vol way ahead since the beginning.
All right, it seems like it's 30 seconds for this to be over. We're probably going to go into an interview with Val R5 after this.
Let me check which one is going to be the one at 19. Let's see if I can find here.
And it seems like at the end of the match, as a lot of the water tanks are done, Val is still holding a slight advantage in them. So Val, VVV was very strong into the water tanks during the majority of the match, but as more movement was needed, it seems like that Val actually was able to take them over.
So at 19, someone asked which battles are going to be. 19 UTC is going to be KOP versus COA in SOS YouTube, and state 669 SAS Alliances versus WDL from 685 on Twitch. So you're going to have both here, one match here in YouTube, and another match being covered on Twitch as well at 19 UTC.
All right, I am talking to Torbert right now to seem to get an interview from him. So you guys can listen, the ones that are in chatting here. Well, feel free to ask any questions if you are on Discord and YouTube, and we are going to be covering a few of the questions that we had before for them.
Hello, Carl. How are you doing? How are you, Carl?
Did you guys enjoy the match that you had so far? While we get everything to be done in here, I am gonna be collecting a few of the IDs that you guys joined. Make sure that you haven't done the IDs, that you do have the IDs in there to actually make sure that you are into the players that are gonna be selected to get some of the rewards. It is going to be 10 that are going to be selected. We are going to be sending them. Do not spam. If you've had sent before, I collected you, so do it again now. Don't do it again now.
Yeah. Iconic T, responding to your question, the strongest alliance in terms of battle power was VVV. They are from state 291, but the alliance that won is the second strongest in terms of battle power. That is Vol from state 333. And again, T, if you want to check the rankings, when you go to your chief profile, if you click on rankings, you're going to see the leaderboards with the Alliance Battle, Alliance Kill, Solo Power for your state, the leaderboards for your state. But if you take a look on the top left, there is an option where you can switch from your state and see all states as well. So if you're curious and want to check who are the strongest on the other states, who is the player with the more solo power headquarters, you can check.
Hey Liz, hey everybody.
Hello, Tor. Welcome to the stream. So let's go again with the interview. I'm quite sure that you are going to be expecting some of the answers at some of the questions that we had before. And first of all, congratulations to your match. I'm pretty sure that everyone there is excited, as I told you in the DMs before going this.
People are crying there. People are celebrating there. There were some champagnes popped up. So definitely,
Yeah,
it
it
is
is.
amazing.
We cannot hear him, Les.
Oh, you can't hear him, and you can't hear him in what do you mean?
Yeah.
You can't hear him into the
in YouTube. Can you?
Okay. 1 minute.
Oh, now we can. Now we can. Now we can.
It's fine. So okay, Tor, as I was saying, thank you for joining us here. It was a masterclass in terms of strategy and everything else. So the best thing that I can say is that I think that everyone was surprised. Everyone, at least in most places, were expecting VVV to win, at least in the chats.
92% of the betting was against us, and this is not the first time.
I mean,
and I told you, we always.
This is the same as this is probably nostalgic for you, right?
Yes. The 3 seasons we won, and all the time the betting was against us.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is where the strategy would come first. Val executed my strategy to the point. Amazing job. We didn't do but few mistakes, and we were forcing them to play defensive. As long as we're kind of forcing the game to go according to our play style, we're gonna win regardless. We were forcing our play style, our game plan on them, and they were always not able to find solutions or whatever we're throwing for them. But good job for Val, good job for 363. They did amazing job. I couldn't be more proud of them. We are very much happy to have a 4th champion league. It is amazing. I cannot. The words cannot explain what I'm feeling now. I'm proud of everybody.
I thought it was a great match as well. As I mentioned, it was a match that that surprised everyone in terms of that. When in the last interview, I mentioned that Val is an alliance that grows under pressure. So you guys did exactly as I expected you would, and that was great. That was incredible that you were able to do that and to grow so much from last match to this match in terms of execution. I noted a few things while casting the match that you were did everything that you were doing in terms of timing was on purpose. A few moments that I can remember from the top of my head are moments that you did that you did the controls of solar just before the center opening up. You did a bunch of the timings with the water tanks being spawning at the same time, including to the point where you take the external buildings. So it was very, very well executed, because it seems that every time that VVV had a response, because it responded to you a few times, they were actually being set back again in terms of how they were doing things. So it was very interesting to see how they were going to be handling a lot of the cases of things that you were doing. So
all that by design. So we went after we lost the last game. My people were a little bit discouraged since although we did our best, but we lost 60K, and we knew that it was because of us doing mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back to the drawing board. We re-emphasized the basics, which again that is very important. We went back to the timings, and everything that was executed today, it was executed to perfection, and it was by design. When we take control, when we rally, if you've noticed multiple times, we lost a building, we don't rally right away. We wait until we recalibrate and then rally and take it in the right moment that we want to take it. And then when we have solar, we started with executing the second phase of the strategy, which was also executed perfectly. It derailed them. On the water tanks, we are always the best team on water tanks. My people are well trained on water tanks. Even if there is bigger stats facing them, they know how to maneuver, to do some tricks and play and on the water tanks, it was always our strongest. On the buildings, this is what causes us to lose the game, which was 2 weeks ago, or the third game in elimination, which we lost. It was the building which costed us heavily. This time we kind of fixed that and made sure that even if they take control, it is us letting them take control. And if we don't want them to take control, we would defend. Reinforcement was spot on. Val, ITN, CAD, GS all had players. We have like a live state, so everybody kind of was cheering for us, and they joined us with one or two players, or sometimes four players, so that we face VVV as a united state, and we face them as one. So like the state couldn't be in a healthier position as it is now. Even if they are rank 1 in BP, we don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care about BP. We know what we have. All know how to play. All have been in the finals, have the experience of the finals. I think with VVV they did a lot of mistakes today, and we were able to execute the plan in a much better way to overcome whatever advantage they have in BP, in stats, in troops. We were able to outperform them in all and every single aspect of the game. Hence, we were able to deliver a decisive win. And how was streaming the game?
It was very exciting to stream the match, and one thing that I have to say is that what you mentioned in there, it is something that I actually say a lot, that pacing is one of the most important things that you can do in a match. So having the control of the match and the pacing and the flow. And another thing that you said is also something that I live by, which is you don't play necessarily only to win, you play not to lose, as if that makes sense. So you don't leave, as you mentioned, anything in the board, and you capitalize in every single mistake that an alliance does, because even though planning is great, everyone is human, especially under pressure. And if you are able to keep calm and capitalize into everyone's mistake, that is awesome. So I think that is one thing that is a great tip for everyone watching, is to be able to do that, to capitalize into mistakes that other team is doing. So thank you for that comment and things like that. So would you say that this was the most memorable fight that you had for this for this Doomsday so far, due to how your team plays?
So from this Doomsday, definitely it was the best. The execution was perfect. The stakes couldn't be higher. The odds were against us. People were betting against us. So definitely this is the best game in this season, and the execution is what made it perfect. So again, you said I can plan or all the plans that can be, but if the people in Val and the friends of Val, Val Warriors, this is what I call them, Val Warriors, if they don't execute to perfection, which they did today, we wouldn't have been able to achieve this decisive win. But again, yes, this is the most memorable game, and the stakes couldn't be higher, and that the championship was at stakes, and we wanted that. We would give it all. So, and this is what we did. We gave it all what we have, and we were able to deliver the win that I promised Val from the start of this season. So thanks for everybody that was betting on us. They got their betting back. Sorry for the 92% that bet against Val.
Yes.
Now people don't bet against Val.
So
we might lose a battle, but we will never lose a war.
So the next question that I want to ask you right now. So what is the next thing for Val right now? Because you have been 4 times championship. You beat the strongest alliance into the game. So what do you expect in the future for Val? What are your plans for the future for the alliance?
I don't know yet. We're still in celebration mode. We're like, if you see the megaphone in like Migo chat in the state,
yes,
just going crazy, and direct messages. So the next phase we don't know yet. We're in celebration mode at the moment. So, but again, this is one of the best days for Val and for 333. We were able to deliver a decisive win and prove that BP, and even if people migrate, we don't, doesn't matter. Val have a very strong base, very trained people, and they know what they're doing. And all 30 players, and I had people on reserve ready to jump in. All knew what they were doing and knew their role and executed their role to the perfection.
So compared to the previous events, what do you think of Doomsday? Do you think it was better done in matchmaking and everything like that? So how would you classify Doomsday compared to the previous championships that you had?
This season definitely it was like no games that we've played was like a weaker alliance. It was the top of the top in our group, and in our group most of them are like in top all states. So that's why like it created a lot of interesting games, fun games, but it was very resource intensive. So we were. It was crazy on the biocaps. I cannot tell you, but like most of my rally leaders have zero biocaps now. Like we again, since we played also, that was one of the side effects of us losing.
Mhm.
We had to play on Thursdays and Sundays, and we were stretched thin on resources and biocaps and speed ups. Now that being said, it was the most interesting season since all teams that we were facing were good teams. Not any time that you
Mhm.
you are not on point, you can lose. You can lose. So this is like any team, and I don't want to mention names, but the 8 teams that were in Group A, they all could have won the championship.
All right.
Now, definitely Val, with the experience, had the higher edge. VVV with the higher BP has a little bit of an edge, but everybody else had the chance. But again, Val proved once and for all we're the best alliance in the fucking game.
Okay, final thoughts. Do you have anything you would like to say to people watching, to your alliance, to the streamers, to the developers? Anything you would have them keep in mind? Go for it.
So I wanna thank, and again, this is I'm gonna start mentioning names. So I wanna thank first Valorant leaders, Stoko, Artbig, Geo, who is a fellow YouTuber, joined us from ITN, DDM, Arthur, Olia, H, Chief, and all the amazing players, Jim, Othred, Matt Cooker, Tad, Hunter, Khalifa, Scorpion, Bella, Khalid, Dania, Jafar. They all did an amazing job. Casper, Kurdi, Salim, amazing job on water tanks. Virus, I don't want to like miss somebody since they all did, and I was following the plan, making sure that everybody executes to the dot. I don't want to miss anybody, but like if I fail to mention your name, you did an amazing job. Again, I'm reciting names from memory, so I might have missed somebody. But like Batman, amazing job in leading one of the teams. Dayan, Kinan, Sadiq, Caesar, My Story. You did all amazing job. Again, we have a very diverse team that is from all over the world.
Mhm.
And they were all like with some of the games, it was not good for some of the time zones, but they were able to put all their hearts in the game. Niba on water spills, he did amazing job. I don't want to miss anybody, but they all did an amazing job. And again, this shows where like you have a United State, like State 333, you can pull people when you need them, and then else they would go to their own alliances and grow. And this is the model that we have in 333. They would join us when we have a big fight, and then later on they would go to their families. We were able to execute the plan. Again, I've had some people helping me with the plan, so amazing job on that front. For execution, I think the team did a very good job executing the plan.
Mhm.
I couldn't have imagined it going any better than how it did.
All right, so I guess that's mostly it for the last response, unless you want to talk to anyone else. I am not including names to type everyone. I apologize to the VAR players, but the interview will be alive of all the names. Thanks for having it, for being in the interview. Thanks for everyone playing the game and everything else. And I guess I'll see you next match in the next
Thank you, Les.
championship.
Well done. Congrats. I don't know if he can hear me. Probably not. So
I can.
I congratulate him and his alliance for all the amazing battle.
Yeah, thank you. I can hear you, and you've done an amazing job covering it in the previous game that you covered, and this game. Again, this is where I like watch the stream later on, the recorded stream later on, and you've done an amazing job in covering the game. Again, I'm gonna kill you, Liz, for revealing some of the secrets last time, but that's us for later.
I probably revealed some of your strategies this time, even if you haven't told me again during the match. Because every time they were doing something that I thought, this looks like this was planned, and then I thought that knowing how Val plays, why you were doing things.
Yes. So, yeah. Again, it is fun. It is very competitive, and the more that we reveal of our strategy, the more people would adapt, and then the more we would have to also alter our plan. And this is what happened exactly in this season. So VVV, when they won us, they executed our strategy to perfection. When we were like shocked for a little bit, and then we couldn't calibrate in time to execute a better strategy. So this is where like the leaving of the periphery like plans. We started that like almost 3 months ago before Dooms, and other alliances started catching up to it, and it was executed by VVV better than us in the game that we lost. So this is where like if the other teams adapt some of those techniques, we would have to find better solutions and different strategy, which what we did in this game. So this is where like people would kind of learn from other alliances, and that's okay. That would increase the competition and would make us think outside the box again. But amazing job covering the game.
And I do think that it doesn't matter if you know the strategies, you have to also have players that have the level of execution again. And as I mentioned during the match, water tanks tend to be more individually focused, even if you do certain teams. So it tends to be kind of an individual performance and spatial awareness. And this is where, as you said, Val shines because of their individuality and the way that they execute things. So what ends up happening is that even if people copy your strategy up to a point where they can execute close to the level that you do, you probably already can think of a response to that. So as you said, I think it's more healthy that people are doing things like that to a point where you can become and grow even more. Because can you imagine how boring it would be that you could use the same strategy and play the same way all the time and still get the same results? At least if you were a lot like me, and I know that it wouldn't quench your thirst for showing how strong and how powerful
100%.
everyone is in there. So even though you want to kill 100%. Me for affecting it, I know that in the bottom of your heart, while killing me as a joke, it also makes you be happy that you can get stronger due to that as well.
100%. And again, this is our strategy and have been from the start to share. If you've noticed, I have like 3 or 4 YouTubers from Val. They stream from every single point of the game. The only thing that I was like joking with the killing you joke, because it was at the stake for the finals. But after that, you're gonna see like all our unlisted videos is gonna be shared, and everybody would be able to see everything. And we actually train and mentor other states on like double rallies to how we do it to perfection, reinforcement, how we do it to perfection. Even on the water tanks, we have a lot of tricks that a lot of people in Val kind of developed and trained other people to do. So even if you're like not as strong as the opponent, you can still do some maneuvers. We learned some of that from other games, and we deployed here. But again, we don't mind sharing, and actually we're happy to share so the other teams can develop, so we can face them and we develop. So that's have been our strategy from the start. But during Doomsday, since there are a couple of tricks that I was trying in the previous matches leading to the VVV game, and if you're just a normal viewer, you might not code them. But if you're like kind of a picky like me or you'd be able to catch those stuff that I would put here and there, and then that would expose the strategy. But again, now we're going to be sharing everything.
So this is...
Okay, so thank you so much for everything. I appreciate having you for the interview, and see you next time.
Thank you very much.
You, and okay. I'll go back to my team and continue celebration.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
So thanks everyone for joining and watching the match. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be sending the every single ID that you provided us to the developers, and they will pick 10 random players. Okay, bye-bye. See you next time. Want to say your final words, Doc? Go ahead.
Of course, thanks so much for sharing your knowledge as well. And thank you very much for Thor for giving the interview. I hope you guys enjoyed this match, and hopefully see you all next time.